Today we will do some cybersecurity training for all employees, and this presentation is made by Vivian Parra. In today's presentation, our agenda will be covering phishing and ransomware attacks, as well as how to identify and respond to those types of attacks. In the end, we will cover some mitigation strategies that will help us protect the company even further and make sure that all employees know what to do. So what are phishing attacks? They are fraudulent emails, messages, or websites that want to trick users into clicking on malicious links or into revealing sensitive information about themselves that will further open up the company to attacks. And basically, to identify these types of attacks, we want to look for emails that have a sense of urgency. They want to pressure the user into acting quickly and use that sense of danger to heighten their emotional state so that they bypass normal security protocols and normal logical thought. Furthermore, it's just going to generally look suspicious. So look for generic greetings where instead of your name, they have dear customer, and it's not very tailored to you, and on top of it, it's also asking for personal information, of course, and there's going to maybe be bad grammar or spelling. So just be suspicious if you see any of these signs, and make sure to try to verify people's identities. You can even go as far as trying to contact their company just to make sure that the information or money or anything that they need is actually verifiable and true. And it's not uncommon to see this type of attack. In fact, 75% of organizations have experienced a phishing attack in 2020, and 32% of all data breaches have involved phishing. And these come from reports by Proofpoint and by Verizon as recent as 2019 and 2021. So it's definitely still going, and people are definitely still falling for these. So don't feel bad, but it's definitely good to be able to identify it beforehand before, putting yourself at risk and your company at risk. So in order to respond correctly, we want to avoid suspicious links or attachments in weird emails and report them immediately. Don't click on anything, just let your IT department know. That way they can address it and make sure to block those kinds of emails in the future. And if you did click on a link or download any attachments, make sure to immediately change your password. Make it strong, make it unique. Avoid using personal information such as your name or your birthday in your password as well. And use a combination of letters, numbers, or special characters. And maybe even consider password manager in the future, just because if you consistently fall for these kinds of things, you will have to change your password a lot. And you definitely want to keep track of it without, having to write it down or put it somewhere that isn't safe. And then the most important thing is make sure to actually report that you fell for the attack, because a lot of employees, they will not want to say that, they just don't want the shame that comes with falling for a phishing attack. But it's nothing to be shameful about. In fact, if you don't say anything, the problem will morph into something bigger, and that will actually expose the company to a bigger problem, and that will just kind of be on you. So definitely avoid that. And now moving on to ransomware attacks. We are looking at ransomware attacks as malicious software that tries to encrypt an organization's data and make it inaccessible until a ransom is paid. So this can include locking a user's file or their screen. and it's definitely something that will be kind of scary. And as we can see in the next slide, it is a scary pop-up. It'll say your files have been encrypted. In fact, your computer may slow down or freeze, and there will be like unusual file extensions maybe that will pop up on your computer, and they all just come from suspicious links or attachments. So definitely be wary of anything that looks weird. This is also one of those things that, it just wants you to misclick it, and then that's the end of it. Like, once that happens, your stuff is locked away and they will want your money. But what would you do in this situation if you were to fall for a ransomware attack? Well, you should disconnect your computer immediately from the network, because you don't want this type of attack to spread to other computers and more information gets captured by the criminals. And you also should never pay the ransom. This does not guarantee that you will get your data back or that your computers or devices will be unlocked. In fact, it may do the opposite. It may actually encourage these criminals to attack you more because they know you're willing to pay the money. So definitely watch out for that. Just make sure you're not clicking on anything that's not coming straight from the company, and we will actually cover more in this slide on further mitigation strategies. So also, only stay on secure networks and devices when doing work. Don't share files or access company files when you don't know who owns the network, or it's not your private network, because it could not be encrypted and people could be capturing your data on top of also exposing you to phishing and ransomware attacks. And also don't just share files on unsecure networks. Make sure to also not explicitly share passwords or sensitive information with anyone. Always verify identities. Make sure, triple check the email addresses on everything, because even a slight misspelling is an indicator that it could be someone who has malicious intent and an ulterior motive. So definitely be wary about that. And last but not least, keep your software up to date and make sure not to connect anything physical device to your computer either. That is definitely a surefire way to expose yourself to unnecessary risk, and that is just your responsibility as an employee. As an IT department, we will do our best to make sure everything's encrypted. We'll be doing the normal security protocols, such as regular updates and patches. We'll be, reinforcing our firewalls and our antivirus software, and we'll be doing those regular security assessments and even penetration testing. But with all that we are doing as an IT department, we need you as employees to do your part and do all of the best practices for data security. So in conclusion, security threats are a serious concern, and it's something that's common and easy to fall for. So stay informed, make sure to follow these guidelines, and always report anything suspicious, even if it turns out to be nothing. Thank you so much for watching this, and make sure to stay safe.